Hi guys, this is Cindy with AZC Productions. Welcome to my channel. So here I am doing our February 9, 2018 update on the Rattlesnake Ridge. I know I said I wasn't going to do every day, but I can't stay away, guys. You guys always come up with really good questions and comments. So really it's a huge motivation to come back. Okay, so I wanted to give you a little bit of updates on the residents. I got a text this morning that the hotel stay has been extended until the 12th, so that's good. There's about maybe three or four families that are still trying to find a place. So here's hoping that maybe Columbia Asphalt would actually provide more extensions, would provide an extension to their hotel stay because they're still trying to find. I do want to say I'm really happy to say that one of the residents is an elderly couple, and I remembered my parents had just gotten affordable housing for the elderly in the valley, and I gave my dad a call. My dad's like, yeah, have him call me. We could, there's like 3 apartments left. We can see if he can get in. And turns out they got together, or they talked on the phone, and the apartment's actually going to hold them. It's actually going to hold 1 apartment for them, and I'm really, really super excited about that. This is an elderly couple, and they're going to be able to get affordable housing. There's just some things that they're waiting for to complete the application process. So really excited to say that they're able to get placed. And I did call the apartment facility, and I thank them. I thank them for holding the apartment for this couple. That's amazing news. So thank you guys for your comments yesterday, and I do want to bring up Lisa's comment on the mobile home park. She's saying it looks like a ghost town, and you're right. One of the evacuated residents called me a couple days ago, and he was telling me that they can't find a place, but they're not going to go back to the mobile home park. They can't. It's unsafe. He goes, just to say how unsafe it is, the school district would not pick up my kids if we were to go back. They're not allowed. They're restricted to go there. The garbage man is restricted to go pick up garbage and do his work on that area. And the postman is restricted to go over there. So you're right. It is a ghost. It is a ghost town. Pretty sad, you know. That's what happens, right? All right. Beautiful day today, so I'm going to get some more footage for you guys, and I expect it to be pretty. Thank you for the great comments I got yesterday. Glad you liked the footage. Stay tuned if you want to see another clip from my geologist, and his name is Bill. People are asking, and his name is Bill. All right, so I do want to give a shout out to all the newcomers. I've gotten a private message from Arizona. Thanks for watching. You know who you are. I don't know your username yet, but thank you for watching. I have people from Atlanta coming on. That's amazing. I have from New York as well. Let's see. I want to give a shout out to, I think I have folks from California, folks from Texas. That's my home state, guys. And then, let's see, the UK. Holland, Finland. Let's see who else. If I forget, please go ahead and write down below if you want me to give you a shout out. I really appreciate everybody coming by. If you like our videos and you like what I'm doing, what we're doing, please remember to subscribe. Okay? I think that's it. Just stay tuned if you want to see a report from my geologist. We have a lot more coming, guys. So stay tuned. And this is Cindy with AZC Productions.
Good day, everyone. Thanks again for stopping by. We wanted to touch on a subject here that we had meant to during the process here. Kind of thought this slide would go a little further than it did, rate-wise. Um, Nevertheless, I mean, I think this is a good exercise regardless, because we're certainly going to be using this going forward. But and just to explain what you're looking at, this is a blog from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. They have been responsible for probably about the last month with the seismometers on site. They have essentially once a week, 4 days, 5 days, they have had updates on their progress. A great site, no question about it. This is a good site for certainly anyone near this area. Good seismic network here for the entire state. If there is ground movement in Yakima, this plate, in addition to what we have here, it will be recorded on the main site, and it could definitely be recorded in real time. Any significant ground movement, and regardless, magnitude 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, it will be, pretty much captured in real time. In this case, we were just getting snapshots of it. I think, by and large, I think they've done a great job with this. I mean, we all have to keep in mind that this type of thing, you just can't stick a seismometer in the ground and turn it on and expect it to just do what you want it to do. It has to be calibrated to the frequencies that you need, what you're looking for. Some of these were on site previously, I believe, and there was some operational issues, but I think by and large, by January 31st, they have pretty much got this down, and I think going forward, this is going to be a great resource for anybody that wants to look at it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think throughout the whole, when they give updates, they pretty much tell you everything. They're very honest about the issues that they're having. This is a setup at Rattlesnake. There's your seismometer. But I appreciate their honesty, and it is. It's, just to get, when you're this close to railroads and highways, there's been a lot of air traffic, drones, helicopters, planes, you name it. Everything has been around here. This is kind of a good example of just a lot of noise. It was just very difficult. But before we get too far ahead, let's kind of back up a little bit and let's just discuss what we're actually measuring here. And what seismometers do is measure amplitudes of P waves and S waves. In this case, they're doing counts on this margin to the left. Some seismograms will actually have amplitude on it. No matter, it can be translated one way or the other. What are P waves and S waves? That's what we're measuring. P waves, or primary waves as we tend to call them, are high velocity seismic waves, and are the first to be recorded on a seismogram, since they can travel through just about anything, water, rock, you name it, they go. And as such, as you may imagine, they are the first indication that earthquake movement is imminent. If in fact there's an earthquake, I'm not saying that that's what these were saying, but let's. I got a nice animation on what a P wave looks like. This is a nice representation. Now, this is not ground movement. This is just the waveform itself, and how it will travel. And as you can see, it's a pretty, obviously the straight line, the fastest to arrive. Just a neat little animation of what it actually looks like if you're trying to visualize it. The second kind primarily are S waves, or secondary waves is what we call them, and they follow at slower speeds and kind of, in my mind, just kind of move as a shear wave. And they are broken down into two separate type of S waves. One is, we got an animation for that, is a Raleigh wave. And you can see the slower speed. It's kind of rolling like, again, this is just a waveform. It's not how the ground moves when it's propagated. It's just I think you get the idea here, but it's just neat little animation. The other one is what we call a love wave, aptly named perhaps, but you kind of see. I think you gain a sense of the particle motion in all of these, and certainly in terms of the secondary waves, kind of a sense of shear with this, kind of the back and forth. All good stuff, man. Nice to see. With that in mind, it's probably good to look at what's actually on site. These are all just aptly named UGAP 1, 2, 3, 4, however many they have. I don't see a UGAP 4. But anyway, back over here, more towards the left corner. It's not in the picture here, but it's not really important for this discussion. But it's a type of seismometer that with a wide frequency response, and as such, it records mostly regional distant earthquakes. Good stuff when you need ground truth to kind of back up what you're doing. But I don't think it's necessarily the best application. I don't think you want a ton of these seismometers here, and thankfully they didn't. Conversely, UGAP 2, UGAP 3, these seismometers are what known as an on-scale frequency response seismometer, and they record moderate to large regional earthquakes that may give rise to larger ones. Good stuff. But again, maybe the frequency response to this is probably a little more than what we need for this. Again, this is just the big lateral crack here, just to give you a frame of reference. However, I thought it was a wonderful idea when they installed UGAP 5 and UGAP 6, which is actually on the UGAP 6 being on the slide itself. And these were recently installed, and while they didn't state the type of them, I'm assuming these are strong motion seismometers for determining locations and magnitudes of small regional earthquakes, and I think that's what we want. And I think you'll see that the data will bear this out. Let's just jump back to that now that we know what we're dealing with. And as you can see, I think early on it was a little messy. It was a little tough to get frequencies nailed down. I mean, just this constant, frequency response all the time. It makes it hard. Yes, these are something, but it's very difficult to figure out what that is with the amount of noise that was going through. Again, they're just trying to determine. In this one, they're trying to determine ground truth. Again, read through these little updates. Are very easy to follow. They're very honest. But as you can see, as you go down, you can see them trying to get it figured out. It's not, again, you just don't turn it on and you got it. And to their credit, I think if you go down, they also got spectrograms in there. I urge you to read up on those. There's links on this particular blog to see what they are. This is good stuff too. Good to see. But I think around what was it? It was rockfall we talked about earlier. This is getting better. I think they're, and to get ground truth, honestly, you need somebody on the ground to do that. Yes, that was an aircraft. Yes, that was a train coming by. You get enough of that, then you start to get the frequency, and then you don't need to do it as much. But anyway, moving on. I thought on the 24th, I believe, yes, I think, yes, and this is a good place to look for interpretation. So we'll begin our discussion here in terms of interpretation. Again, amplitude being on what you call the y-axis, or this left axis over here, and the x-axis along here is just essentially time. Now, again, these are just snapshots. We're not getting every second of every day, but I think as interpretations get cleaner, we'll get more of them. But I really do like this. This is good stuff. See, everything matches up. And I think they're honing in UGAP 3, you got to. They're honing these in real well, but I think 5 and 6 were, really nice because, the interpretations you're able to do it. You like to see these straight lines leading up to it. Nothing happening. And how you interpret these is very simple. Basically, you're going the straight line, just standard everyday movement. When this first spike happens, that's your P wave. That, as we said, the first one to arrive. When this goes back down, that is probably pretty close to the beginning of your S wave frequencies coming in, and S waves are all behind it. There's just probably latent secondary waves coming in. But the easy way to interpret that in terms of where this came from, you need tenths and hundreds of seconds on this, because the way it's interpreted, if the distance between the arrival of the P wave and the S wave were 4 or 5 seconds apart, the epicenter would be so far away that you would know that this can't be happening here. This has got to be something else. This, you can see down on the bottom of the timeline, we're this little area here, we're talking tenths of seconds here. And that's good. That's what we want. Now, why is this what we want? Very simple. When we know that, again, going down the bottom here at the timeline, when you go in ahead and look at it yourself, you'll see that the time between these two areas, here and here, is only half a second. Which means, yes, we're where we want to be. We're in the hundredths of seconds, most likely, and that's good. That's what we want. Because in order to interpret that, which is very simple as well, if you take the arrival of the first P wave up around here and the arrival of the first secondary wave or S wave here, all you have to do is subtract the two. That will give you your lag times, say 1/100th of a second. In this case, just as an example, we can take that to a standard chart, match that up, and that will give us the distance to the epicenter of this particular frequency of movement. And that's a good thing. That's, I think, what the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network was looking for here. I do believe they've really honed into the frequency here that they want. And yes, I kind of think, just looking at this, and I've looking at them looking at these type of things in the past, I do think that's what we're looking at. We're looking at subtle movement within the slide itself. And some of you might be wondering, okay, what's the magnitude of something like this? Well, I mean, in this case, they have honed this down so much that we're probably, and remember, magnitudes are exponential. So to go from 2 to 3 is a huge jump. And I'll leave it to you to look all that up. That's pretty simple to look up. But in this case, these movements are so slight that we're probably in the magnitude of something like -2 or something. It's not, you never feel it, you would never even know it. But for this exercise that the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network is doing, I think this is a good place to start, because when we start getting bigger hits on this, I think we're going to be able to follow along and weed out what's what. And that's a good thing. I think going forward, this is a great thing. And again, I think the staff here at PNSN does fine work, and certainly not here to criticize it in any respects. Again, you can read through the trials and tribulations that they went through, which anybody would go through if you're going to start an exercise like this. And to their credit, it doesn't appear like it took that long to get it up and running. Again, if I didn't mention it, this blog will be discontinued. They will start a new blog on Rattlesnake Ridge to kind of, I think, take it from this point forward. And I think, as I said, I think better results will come out of this, and I think it'll be very easy to follow and stay along with as we go along. So with that in mind, I think that just about covers everything. Again, we thank you so much for staying with us and stopping by. We'll continue to look at things as they come. You know, we realize that things have slowed down a little bit, but just wanted to enlighten you a little bit about this going forward, because this will be, they've put so much effort into it that I don't see them stopping doing this now, and who knows what may come out of this. So again, thank you so much for staying with us and supporting us, and we'll see you all again real soon. Thanks.